Yo, hey. Today we're going to be looking at Voxengo Span. It's a free VST, and honestly, it's just so good. I can't believe they're not charging money for this. So we've got it here on the screen in its default settings. Out of the box, put it into your door. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to teach you how to use Span in a better way to improve the balance of your mixes by using your eyes in conjunction with your hearing in your ears to get a more balanced track. Now, this is really good for situations where you're mixing in a less than ideal audio environment, i.e. you're on monitors, but your room's not treated properly, or you're mixing on headphones and they're lying to you in some way, shape or form, often with the bass frequency response. So let's dive into, in my opinion, what the best way of using Span is. First of all, we want it on the master channel. And then we want to tidy this up a little bit. We don't need to know how many ISPs and clipping we're getting. We don't need to know our correlation and our phasing at the moment. And we don't necessarily need to know the RMS and the volume. So what we're going to do is click on this button here on the top right called Hide Meters, and it cleans up the user interface. Now we've got a much wider picture and it fits more well into the door, especially if you've got other things open like your mid-side EQ. Secondly, you'll notice here that you've got quite a lot of energy being taken up by the kick drum. See how like between here, like the 30 through to the 80 hertz is a big round blob? We don't want that. We want to see the transient of the kick, and we want to know if our bass is rolled off properly. So how do we fix that? We're going to open up the settings. We're going to look at the block size. We're going to increase the sample rate. I find that 8K is the right amount. And now you can see we've got a clearer idea of the bass and the kick drum transients, bass, kick drum, and we can see that the lows are nicely rolled off like they should be. We don't want any energy really going below 20 hertz full stop. So we want to see that kind of before then it's rolled off. Great. The problem though with increasing the sample size is we now have these really like dynamic looking harmonics. And it's just not easy to see what's going on as a overall balance. So we're going to go here and smooth off these harmonics. Click on 1/3, boom. Experiment with different timings if you want to have a less smooth or a more smooth look. I personally like 1/3. Secondly, it's bouncing up and down a little bit too much. I want to get more of a clear idea of the levels over a longer period of time. So we're going to increase the average time. I find that around 6,000 is slow enough to give me a very easy level to see. And now we can see how balanced the track is. A little bit more bass, nice kind of equilibrium with the highs, not too much mud, a little bit of boxiness here. Cool. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the thing that you might notice while using this is visually you might see like a build-up of energy in your song. So if we have a look at this here, and let's say we're gonna have some mud in the mix. So around 300 hertz. Okay. Now you can clearly see there's a problem here. If you've been mixing for a few hours, sometimes your brain gets used to the sound and starts tuning out the problem areas and thinks that what you're hearing is normal. So you might see a problem, but you can't hear it. My advice is to never EQ something out just purely with your eyes. What probably has happened is that you've just been listening for too long and you need to go and take a break from mixing. So go and take a break, have something to drink and eat, go and listen to some other music to reset your hearing on a balanced track or a reference track, and then come back to the mix. Come back to the mix and go, okay, so I think I've got a build up of energy here, look at your EQs, and then adjust accordingly. Okay, so that's first thing first. Use your eyes to indicate there might be a problem, and then use your ears to confirm it. Never make an EQ decision based solely on your eyes. I don't think that's a good thing, because An ideal mix is quite often a flat line, but there's plenty of mixes that don't use a flat line curve that sound great. So yeah, cool. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is seeing if there's any issues with the stereo field. So what we're going to have to do here is change the routing mode. You don't need to worry about this complex routing thing here. You can click on the drop down menu. We want to change it to mid-side stereo mode. Okay, so we now have here mid-side stereo mode. Alright, which is just showing us the mid at the moment. But we want to see what's going on the side. So you can click here on mid and go over to side. And then we're going to pretty much copy the settings that we had before. So we're going to open this up. We're going to change this up to 6,000. Okay, slows it down a bit. And then we're going to increase the sample size to 8K. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is smooth off a little bit, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, I think a little bit less, just like that. Yeah, cool. So then what we're going to do is change the color to a dark red, just so it's easier to see. And then we're going to make sure that the underlay is the mid. So we're going to go back to mid mode by clicking here. We're going to select underlay, side. There you go. Now, a good mix will always have the stereo rolled off below the sub frequencies, which is around 100 Hertz. So you can see here, we don't have any issues with the sides down here, with the reddy orangey color now. Now, if we see the line here in the mids or the low mids or even the lows going above the mono section, that indicates a problem. For example, let's see if I can actually get this. Okay. So if we see something like this, what that means is when you have the track collapsed back to mono, for example, if you're making a vinyl record for press, or if you're playing in a nightclub that's on a mono system, when you collapse the song to mono again, this information here is going to be lost. So the song won't sound the same as it would if you had the mono section louder than the sides. So it's really important to make sure that you watch this for the whole song, and if you have any issues where the stereo field is much louder than the mono, you need to go back and EQ that with a mid-side EQ to get that fixed. Okay? And it should return to parity. There we go. Gotta wait for it because there's a bit of a lag because of the smoothing that we put in. And this is what it should look like. A good mix will often have the stereo field a few decibels lower than the mono field. If they're really close together, especially in the low frequencies here, you'll lose the foundation of your track, which is where you get the energy from in the mono mix, in the center, the bass and the drum and so forth. Notice here how you've got some stereo imaging a little bit louder in the high mids and the highs. This could also be slightly problematic. The higher the frequency, the less of an issue it is though. Yeah, so just keep an eye on that. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope this tutorial helps with you getting a better balanced mix with your eyes. If you have any questions, just feel free to message me in our Discord or leave a comment and we'll get to it.